With deepest sympathy are the words appearing on many a condolence card. Well-meaning, to be sure, but are those words really enough? What is the best way to console after the loss of a loved one? Our cover story is reported by Susan Spencer.
You look like somebody who's in love.
Oh, we were so happy to.
Leslie Gray Streeter says the wedding pictures tell the tale.
You're glowing.
Oh, thank you. I know.
Of her picture-perfect marriage to husband Scott.
What was Scott like?
He was hilarious and funny. I met him when I was 14. We were in high school together in Baltimore.
They went their separate ways, but as if by fate, 20 years later, both moved to West Palm Beach, Florida. They reconnected, and then they really reconnected.
He emailed me and said, "Can I take you out for a drink?" And then I walked in, and he smiled at me, and I went, "Oh." His eyes were so like, and I was like, "Oh, that's that guy. That's that guy."
You know, we throw around the words love of your life.
Yeah.
Does that fit?
It does.
They married, but tragically, only 5 years later, at age 44, Scott died of a heart attack. Leslie's grief was all-consuming.
We had so many plans, just so many things he did not get to do, and it wasn't fair. It's not fair.
I think I read that 2.5 million Americans die each year.
Yes.
If you figure each one of them has 2 or 3 people who may grieve their loss, that's a lot of people going around suffering from symptoms of grief, right?
That's exactly right.
Psychiatry professor Dr. Catherine Shear at the Columbia University School of Social Work studies grief, that shattering emotion that eventually touches us all.
How long should people expect to grieve?
I have an easy answer to that: for a lifetime.
While most of us eventually adapt to a new normal, 1 in 10 endures what Dr. Shear calls complicated grief. For them, the acute phase of grief never lets up.
It's more common after someone young dies. It's more common after a violent death of some sort.
And she says she sees it among military families who have lost service members in combat.
If it's not dealt with, what happens to people?
It really kind of ruins a person's life. I mean, it makes it very difficult to engage in anything meaningful and connect with other people. But we also listen to
Dr. Shear
nonverbal
works with
communication.
therapists on creative ways to help people overcome complicated grief, and as to why grief itself is for all of us so hard to face.
We all have death anxiety. That's very natural.
We don't want to be reminded.
We don't
this
want to
is
be
where
reminded.
We're all ending up.
Exactly.
Which may explain why, according to a new CBS News poll, half of all Americans admit to not knowing what to say to someone who is grieving.
The reason that a lot of people weren't asking me to really share how I was feeling with them was because they didn't want to know the answer. They were uncomfortable around the topic of loss.
Rebecca Sofer was a rising young producer for Stephen Colbert in 2006 when her mother was killed in a car crash. At 30, she says, she felt like an orphaned child.
I just kind of went into this, almost like this mental silence, because everything was so overwhelming to me.
You were close to her?
She was my best friend. She was everybody's cheerleader. She was the best of human beings.
Along with shock and grief, she found herself adrift in a culture of platitudes.
I often felt that the onus was on me to make everybody around me feel a lot more comfortable talking about my dead mom than the onus being on them to make me feel comfortable sharing my feelings.
Then there were the well-meaning gifts.
Did people give you stuff? I mean, what did they?
Yes, edible arrangements.
Edible arrangements?
I got 14 of them.
14 edible arrangements?
I got 14 of them the week after my mom's death.
Did you get any cards that actually helped?
I did. I got 2 cards that really helped, but really helped, and I have them to this day.
According to that same CBS News poll, 4 out of 10 Americans think sending a sympathy card is the best thing to do.
I read somewhere that Americans send 100 million sympathy cards a year, which seems absolutely astonishing.
It is.
Do you feel like people who buy your cards are, in essence, depending on you to kind of avoid the agony in figuring out what it is they're supposed to say?
Yeah, and they should. You know, that's my job.
Greg Vovos writes sympathy cards for American Greetings outside Cleveland, Ohio.
What would you absolutely avoid? Are there things that you see in sympathy cards that make you cringe?
I would avoid saying, you're going to get over this, time will heal these wounds, I've been there.
Yours are mixed in among these. Show me some of the ones that you've done.
Okay, here's one.
Healing thoughts.
The challenge, he says, is to be true, but not trite.
You're writing a card for a moment that is the most personal time in someone's life. There are no words, but there are heartfelt wishes.
Writing about grief is something Rebecca Sofer also understands. 4 years after her mother died, her father died too. In 2013, she and a close friend co-founded Modern Loss.
So here's our homepage. And as you can see, it's very simple.
She sees it not just as a website, but as a movement built on shared personal stories of grief from around the world, sometimes with an unexpected twist.
So this is a piece that makes me laugh time and again.
What mom would have thought of the Kardashian clan?
Yep.
He says the real reason I miss her is because she's not here to discuss reality TV with me.
Yeah.
With titles like My Grief is Bleeping Funny and The Surviving Spouse's Guide to Surviving a Hallmark Holiday, it's not exactly Grandma's take on grieving.
It sounds like you're just basically trying to blow up all stigma that's attached to grief.
Yeah, we are. People think it's contagious, like they're going to catch grief, but it's like, you know, you're not.
It's that stigma,
It
though.
is. You're not going to catch grief. It's not a thing.
Which brings us back to Leslie Gray Streeter, a writer herself for the Palm Beach Post. She discovered Modern Loss while trying to cope with Scott's death.
You read it and you go, someone else feels like me. Someone else has to get up in the morning and put on earrings and like find their keys and figure out what to eat for breakfast and still have this elephant stepping on their chest, this grief and this pain.
As if to show that there are no rules for that, Streeter submitted her own essay to Modern Loss. What I Did with My Husband's Life Insurance Money.
Let me see it. That is gorgeous.
Thank you.
What she did was buy a sparkling new stone for her engagement ring. She'd lost the original while Scott was still alive.
It made me feel like he was still here.
Well, he'll always be a part of you, right?
Always. Always. He was so cool.
Grief is the thing that levels us all. Grief is the thing that pulls all of us together. You want more? Okay, hold on.
Rebecca Sofer's mission today, to spread that word. Dealing with death is simply part of living life.
Oh my.
In a way, this story is almost like the view from across the Golden Gate Bridge. Intriguing, beautiful, but sometimes hard to see through all the fog.
Are you the kind of person who really believed in after-death communication?
No, definitely not.
Janice Heafy-Durham used to think of death as an ending, but she never will again. In 1999, Janice and Max Bessler were a California power couple. She was publisher of the Sacramento Bee, a paper that won 2 Pulitzer Prizes on her watch. He was a political consultant, stepfather to her son Tanner, and the love of her life.
He was compassionate and empathetic and my lover and my best friend.
And she was at his side when doctors told him he had terminal cancer in late 2003.
The most painful part was just watching him suffer,
And feeling helpless.
helpless.
In May 2004, a few days shy of his 56th birthday, Max Bessler died. And that, Janice says, is when things started getting weird. Lights in her Sacramento home would flicker. Clocks would stop at the moment Max died. But then, on the anniversary date of his death, Janice was stunned by something she saw as she stood in her bathroom washing her hands.
I looked up at the mirror and I saw a handprint, a perfectly formed, powdery handprint, large on the mirror. It was the right hand.
Her first thought was that maybe Tanner did it as a joke, but his teenage hands were much too small.
That hand looked so consistent, so similar to Max's. So I did have the wherewithal to photograph it. I wish I had done more.
More like?
I wish I would have thought to take a sample, but I just didn't even think of it. I thought I do need to photograph it, however.
You knew it was something.
I knew it was something.
Before long, the hardcore skeptic was a true believer.
I mean, I have faith in things that I can't see, but you know there are millions of people out there that are going to say, come on.
Exactly. And I was one of them, so I really understand it.
In time, Janice moved on. She remarried in 2008. But things kept happening. A footprint appeared on a chair at their vacation home. Carpets would move themselves across her floor. And on the second anniversary of Max's death, more powdery images on the mirror. On the third, another handprint.
And there's no doubt in your mind that this was a sign from Max?
No doubt in my mind. No.
Of course, there's plenty of doubt to go around. Joe Nickel of Buffalo, New York, is a paranormal investigator.
The best way is to have the lights out.
He showed me his ghost detection techniques back in 2011. He read Janice's story and came away with a different view.
Well, okay, let's just say that he's doing this. Why wouldn't he do it before her very eyes? Why not just write with his finger, I'm okay, love you, miss you?
Is there a possibility that this could be her deceased husband, Max, talking to Janice?
I don't think so.
Nickel says a lab test of any of the handprints could have settled the matter.
She didn't do that, and then the next year, she didn't again, and the next year after that, again she didn't. One has to decide that at some point, I don't think she wanted to test it.
Because?
Well, I think she was afraid of the answer.
And you know, despite everything you are saying, people will still believe this.
I have good news and bad news. The bad news is there are no ghosts. The good news is nobody will believe me.
Janice did some digging of her own, talking to scientists and other experts who she says convinced her it was Max. She's put it all in a new book. If Max was behind this, he's moved on. There haven't been any new handprints for a while. But Janice says she's grateful it happened at all.
What do you think Max was trying to tell you?
I think Max was trying to tell me that there's more to life than the physical form, the physical reality we live in. I'm not saying that these experiences made me feel less sad about the fact that Max lost his life at 56. But it makes me able to live with it better.
You still miss him?
I do. I do. Yes.
The story of a man who left the greatest gift imaginable is the story our Steve Hartman is here to tell.
Normally, no one wants to receive an unsolicited letter from an attorney. Yet that's exactly what some residents of Ripon, Wisconsin found in their mailbox.
So I open it up and I'm reading it and I'm like, oh.
No.
It's unbelievable.
We were shocked.
Did not see that coming at all.
I said, I'm going to have to read this out loud and see if this says what I think it says.
It made you cry.
The letter was from an attorney representing the estate of Dennis Valstad. Dennis, who at one point owned the local dry cleaner, died a few months ago at the age of 69. To most people, Dennis seemed to be a man of modest means.
But he secretly amassed a small fortune. Although it wasn't just the size of his estate that brought us here. It was the directions he left behind for what to do with it.
This is Don Jorgensen.
I got a bunch of his stuff in here.
Executor of the estate.
Provision number 5, the sum of $500,000 to be divided equally to the individuals that attend my funeral.
That's all you had to do was show up?
Yeah, that's it.
Just attend the church service or simply set foot in the funeral home and sign the registry, and his money was yours. Of course, no one in Ripon knew this in advance, and Dennis had no wife or kids, so there was no reason for him to expect a large turnout.
He was probably a loner.
Oh, very much so. He was lonely.
To that point, Don also found Dennis's New Year's resolutions.
Live a life that is pleasing to God.
That's things he wanted to accomplish this year?
Find true friends, not be lonely.
Those people who did love him enough to attend his funeral. This was a thank you.
Yeah.
He would have been pleasantly surprised.
Darn right he would.
This is the registry. Dennis may not have had a lot of close friends, but he was endlessly kind, and all these people appreciated that. 270 of them attended his services. Now each one will get about $1,800.
Here's the interesting part.
And this bonus.
It's going to motivate people to be more giving, more loving, more understanding.
And that's the real gift here.
Yeah.
That reminder.
Yep.
That although a funeral is an important time to show someone you care, there is one time better. Sooner. Deep inside Japrags Park in Heinsberg, Vermont, there's a mystery. Back in 2011, someone walked way out here under the cover of night and installed a mailbox, leaving no explanation aside from that 3-letter clue, D-A-D.
After keeping it secret for so many years, I knew that somebody would find out about it and want to share it with others, and I think now is a great time to share it.
Barry Lampke put it there because he has always been a letter writer, and his favorite pen pal was always his father, George.
That was my way to connect with him, and so when he passed away, about a year later, I realized that piece of our relationship was missing. And so that's when I decided to find a way to continue that connection.
Again, until recently, no one knew how it got there, but many have stumbled upon it, peeked inside, and made it their connection too. Strangers now leave blank journals for others to write in, and today there are hundreds of messages to dads gone by. You showed me how kind and gentle a truly strong man is. How challenging it is sometimes to keep you a part of my life when the living are so needy. I often wish I could see you, but I don't miss you because your spirit glides by so often. And of course, the most recent entry.
Daddy-O, for so long it was our private conversation, but so many people have found this to be a place of love, appreciation, and healing. As we struggle to survive this pandemic and heal the wounds that we have created as a country, your gift will be a place where we can all come together to connect with our dads and share their stories. Love forever and a day, Barry.
And with that, the portal closes yet again, ready for the next grateful child to come along.
Steve Hartman has the story of a mother whose love knows no bounds.
I've never been one to air a person's dirty laundry, but in the case of Carrie Cox of Culloden, West Virginia, the sheer volume of her daily load speaks volumes about her capacity for love.
Just has an amazing heart.
She's like Mother Teresa almost.
My mom does 99.9% of the work. My dad does 0.1.
A gross exaggeration, for sure.
Put that somewhere.
But even Bill admits that without Carrie, this family of mostly adopted children, many with special needs, would fall to pieces.
You want to eat more? It's good.
This is the story of what keeps her going, what almost made her stop, and the child who changed everything. 13 years ago, Carrie and Bill adopted Mary Beth from China.
Very high functioning autism, extremely black and white. The first time she saw me, she said, "Oh, I didn't know I was getting a fat mom." That was our relationship with each other, and it was actually phenomenal.
And Mary Beth was doing great.
was valedictorian of her class. She had won tons of math awards.
Until tragedy struck.
It was 2021. Mary Beth was a senior here at Marshall University in Huntington, West Virginia, when she got hit by a car and died. For Carrie, the pain of losing a kid, especially like that, convinced her to never adopt again.
Why put yourself through that anymore? You know, I mean, honestly, like people that don't have children don't have to feel this pain, you know?
The pain outweighed the joy.
Yeah, that's what we thought.
What changed?
Mary Beth changed us. She changed us.
From the grave, she changed them. When going through her things, Carrie found a journal where Mary Beth, who'd never been effusive with her feelings, wrote this to herself. God gave you what many may never have, a loving family that will always be here, no matter what.
Love you, Marty.
Since reading that, Carrie and Bill have taken in 4 more children to make 14 total.
Their need was greater than my pain.
Their need was greater than her pain. That's the essence of a mother's instinct, that unwavering selflessness that goes beyond the biological.
Mom didn't give birth to me.
I didn't.
To create something truly divine.
I'm still your kid though.
You are. Yep. Anybody else want to eat? Destiny?
The love between mother and child knows no bounds. And if you need proof, here's our Steve Hartman.
A lot of kids in America want to run a lemonade stand, but not many feel like they have to. 7-year-old Emery Johnson started her business a few weeks ago after a terrible nightmare morning.
I woke up with the worst news of my life.
Emery's mother, Carly, died unexpectedly at the age of 29. She was a single mom, and Emery's everything.
We go see Mommy?
Which is why she couldn't understand, first time she went to the cemetery with her grandmother Jennifer, why everyone else got giant granite headstones, but her mom, just this tiny metal one.
Did that bother you? Why?
Because it felt like she was being left out.
Her grandma tried to explain how they couldn't afford a headstone right now.
She had tears in her eyes and wanted to help.
So she did the only thing that she could think of to raise money.
Yes.
I made a lemonade stand.
A lemonade stand to pay for her mother's headstone. At first, she didn't make mention of her cause.
Thank you.
But word got out.
Thank you.
And before long,
Thank you.
Emery says it seemed like just about everyone here in Scottsboro, Alabama was thirsty for lemonade. The price was $1, but she says people liked it so much,
How many cups do you want?
they often paid more.
Thank you. The most that we got for 1 cup of lemonade was $300.
For lemonade?
Yeah, for 1 cup.
Whoa! So far, Emery's lemonade stand has raised more than $15,000, which will all go into savings because a monument company is now donating the headstone. But more importantly, Emery has taken that lemon life handed her and squeezed out hope.
Her comment was when all these people came, she couldn't believe so many people cared for her and loved her mommy.
They always say it takes a village to raise a child, but sometimes it also takes a village to mourn a mom. Folks around here take that role seriously, offering Emery comfort by the cupful and all the love she can drink.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Since so much of our broadcast is devoted to those we're leaving behind, it seems the right time to consider the question of grief. Anderson Cooper's CNN podcast is called All There Is, and asks the question, do we move on from grief or simply learn to live with it? He shares some thoughts.
Grief, when it comes, is nothing like we expect it to be. Joan Didion wrote that, and boy, was she right. It's nothing we expect, and it's different for everyone. I've spent much of my career as a reporter in wars and disasters, stepping into other people's grief. But I've also spent most of my life running away from my own, and I haven't gotten very far. For the last few years, I've been going through dozens of boxes of photos and papers belonging to my mom, Gloria Vanderbilt, who died in 2019, and to my dad, Wyatt, who died when I was 10, and to my brother, Carter, who died by suicide when I was 21. I'm the last one left from the little family I was born into, the last one who remembers our stories and the life we shared. I found letters and journals, old seating charts for dinner parties, postcards from Truman Capote, even telegrams from Frank Sinatra, whom my mom was dating in the 1950s. Sifting through these boxes, these memories, it's been overwhelming and lonely, and I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do with it all. I can't just get rid of these things. It's all that's left of them, and I'm not ready to let them go. The truth is, none of us is alone in our grief, though it certainly feels like we are. The path we're on is well traveled. The person sitting next to you on the subway or in a cubicle at work, everyone has felt the pain of loss or will. It is a bond we can share, but we rarely do. Instead, we shroud our grief in silence. Why is it so hard to talk about? Why must we keep it hidden away, crying in private, speaking the names of our loved ones in hushed whispers only we can hear? I've done that my whole life, and the price I paid is high. When you bury your grief to mute your sadness, you mute your ability to feel joy as well. You can't have one without the other, and I see that now. Talking about grief and hearing from others who are living with grief as well, it's the one thing I found that's helped me feel less frozen by it and less alone in it. I'm not a fan of New Year's resolutions, but this year I'm going to try and give up carrying my grief in silence. I've been doing that since I was 10 years old, and the weight of it is just too much to bear.
When it's your mother calling, just about any dutiful son pays attention. An old colleague of Steve Hartman's certainly did.
To tell the most unusual story of my career, I had to go back.
How are you? Good, how you doing?
To the beginning of it.
Good to see you, man.
33
years.
years.
A long time.
My first job in news was with Brad Brown.
You're all grown up.
WTOL-TV.
It was at the CBS affiliate in Toledo, Ohio. Brad was the serious investigative reporter who once worked for the Washington Post.
It's these so-called victims.
And I was his wayward, feature-loving intern.
Give me a kiss.
Point is, Brad comes to me with a lot of credibility, which is the only reason I even heard him out when he called me up with this unbelievable tale.
If God wanted to give a sign, what better way to do it than through the instrument that dominates people's lives today?
The iPhone.
Right, the smartphone.
Brad's odyssey with his iPhone began after his mom died in February. Janet Brown. At one point, one of the highest-ranking women at the Pentagon was buried just last week at Arlington. Brad says he was making these arrangements when, 3 days after she died, he hit the mail icon on his phone, and for the first time in his life, his mail didn't come up.
And it wasn't just a blank screen like the phone had gone dead. There was an image there.
He took this screenshot and recognized it immediately as a cloudy version of a different picture on his phone, of his mom. The phone started working normally again a few hours later, but the image still appears today in the background of some emails.
Oh, there she is.
Right?
That's weird.
We talked to several phone experts. Some were able to recreate this effect,
Brad,
but none could explain how it just randomly appeared in the first place.
this is what I got. Have you seen this before?
I haven't seen this at all. That's like a lovely thing.
So you wouldn't fix it?
I wouldn't fix it.
The whole experience has left this retired investigative reporter with the biggest mystery of his life.
And sometimes now, as I think about, is there a technical explanation? One side of the ledger of reality? I look at the other side of the ledger of reality. Is this the blessing that God is giving to me?
On this Mother's Day, lots of people will be missing their moms, when all of a sudden, maybe a rainbow will appear, or a bluebird will land on the windowsill. Mere coincidence to many. But Brad Brown says until proven otherwise, it's okay to believe. It's your mother calling.
Do you believe it's possible to communicate with the dead? Each year, Americans spend billions trying to do just that. This morning, Tracy Smith is talking with one very happy medium.
As psychics go, 28-year-old Tyler Henry is a pretty big medium. His specialty, as seen on his E! Network TV show, is helping folks connect with their departed relatives, like Bobby Brown here.
He's having me just acknowledge this feeling of like, I need my son to know how much I love him because I wish I would have said that more in life.
It's so good to see you all. How's everyone doing?
He also has a road show that regularly sells out,
She's completely at peace. She's completely fine. But she's
with tickets ranging from $50 to $300 a seat.
Do you know who Johnny is? John is my brother.
Oh, John, okay.
And Henry says he has a 600,000 plus waiting list
Gosh, it's like you're in my body.
of people who want one-on-one readings like these.
You're dealing with something that exists in a gray area, and gray areas make people very uncomfortable.
Oh my God. Hi. It's so good to meet you.
True enough, but it also gives some people a sense of peace.
I'm excited today to see whatever comes
Me
in
too.
and what happens to come through.
Me too.
Like Jim Parsons, whom Tyler helped find closure with his late grandmother.
Connected to your father. He's having me go to the grandparent level, generationally. For some reason, they're having me reference to a name, and it sounds something along the lines of like May, or there's some M, I'm saying M, A, and then like
May's
E.
my grandmother.
Oh, perfect. Okay, awesome.
Tyler mentioned my grandmother's was May, which he nailed like that. She was apologizing and saying, I'm sorry for being such a pain in the ass towards the end.
When did this all start? When did you discover you had this ability?
It started for me when I was 10 years old. My first kind of identifiable premonition happened in April of 2006. I woke up one night and just knew that my grandmother was going to die. And it was a case where it felt like it had already happened. And I rolled out of bed and I went to go try to explain this to my mom. And as I was sharing this with her, her phone rang. And when she picked it up, it was literally the news from my dad that he had just watched my grandmother die. So that really kicked it off, but I didn't recognize that as a talent. In fact, it was, quite painful.
Henry studied to be a hospice nurse, but quit to start reading people full-time, though he says that now, in some ways, he's doing the same kind of work.
How do you think this helps people deal with grief?
I think it helps people process emotions that they don't generally feel comfortable processing. So it's really a beautiful, beautiful opportunity, one I don't take lightly, and one that I think of as a responsibility.
Somebody over here, did anybody lose a niece?
And for those who are grieving, it can all get pretty real. For instance, in a live show in New York last year, Henry sensed that someone in the crowd had lost a niece.
Okay. I know that I'm in the front section and the way this is coming through, somewhere in this department. But
And then he found a man who'd recently lost his niece.
Okay. I have to highlight a reference to the month of July. We're in August currently. July was important, all right? This is a... Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh.
What do you say to people who say, oh, come on?
I think that it's important to embrace skepticism, to never lose sight of our critical thinking, and to more than anything use common sense. But I also think that when it comes to grief, it's something we're all going to face. And if I'm able to deliver one thing, one unknowable detail, one piece of information that validates to a person that there's more to life than what we see, then that is worth any skepticism I face, any backlash, because I know that I've left someone better than I found them.
Of course, not everyone in the psychic services industry leaves people better off. Tyler Henry says about half the people in his business aren't what they say they are.
I know nothing. Everything that I have, everything that comes out of here, comes from the man upstairs.
In the 90s, a woman named Yuri Del Harris posed as a Jamaican psychic named Miss Cleo.
You know the one I am talking about, don't you?
And became the face of a popular call-in psychic advice service.
Call me now for your free reading.
Turns out it was all an act. Miss Cleo was actually from Los Angeles, but whenever anyone asked her about it, as I did in 2003, she was less than forthcoming.
Where were you born? You know what? I will tell you the same thing that I told the Attorney General. I took a number 5 with him. That's the 5th Amendment. And I will take it with you at this time.
How about birthday? Will you tell me that if you won't tell me where you're born?
I'll take a number 5.
I'm taking that as a no. Tell me your sign.
I'll take a number 5.
This is a beautiful spot.
Thank you.
Tyler Henry knows there will always be frauds and skeptics, but he sees a future in his business and says we shouldn't knock things we can't explain.
Consciousness is clearly very complicated, multifaceted. There's an element to it that we clearly don't understand, but to be able to sit with a stranger and get an insight into their life as though it is one's own life speaks to the fact that I think we are much more connected than we realize.
Steve Hartman this morning has a story of grief and forgiveness that is truly beyond words.
Nakia Cherry in the black and Stacy Green in the bright may look like besties from way back, but this is a bond born from bitterness.
I love you so much, Miss Stacy. I'm so sorry.
Do a twirl.
4 years earlier, Stacy's mom, Rosie, was killed in a car crash. The other driver, Nakia Cherry, was doing 73 in a 45. Atlanta area police charged her with vehicular homicide, and Stacy was glad to see her suffer.
Yes, I was consumed.
By what?
Anger, sadness, loss.
I mean, Stacy was furious.
Let's see. Attorneys Jeb Butler and Tom Giannotti represented Stacy in the civil trial, and they made sure to keep the parties in the case apart.
I was worried that if they got together, the result would be incendiary. I was very pleasantly wrong.
Instead, last October, Stacy went up to Nakia in this courthouse. She thought of what her minister mother would say, and then told Nakia, "I forgive you."
And when I forgave her, it's like I was reborn again.
You make it sound like a miracle.
Nothing short.
It was an extraordinary step, but only the first step. From then to now, Stacy has gone so far beyond the words, "I forgive you," to the actions of, "I love you."
She's like a godmama to me. I talk to her every day.
Nakia lost everything after the crash. She now lives in a motel.
So I am committed to her life getting better.
Like how?
So I've helped her with money for food.
You've given her money?
Yes. Rent. I was her daughter's secret Santa. I booked a trip for her to go to Miami for her 40th birthday.
Her attorneys say they've never heard of anything like it.
She's remarkable, remarkable person.
And all that's great. That separates conversation from conviction.
Stacy didn't have to do that. I'm gonna cry.
Actually, Stacy says she did have to do all that, or she could have never forgiven herself.
We gotta make the best out of this situation.
Sharing photographic memories of the husband she lost far too early has had a healing effect on the young widow Michelle Miller has been talking to.
Photographer Jacob Johnson dreamed of a photo exhibit like this.
Everything framed was taken by Jacob.
Who was the better photographer?
That's not fair.
His wife, Anjali Pinto, also a photographer, made it happen.
Originally, my thought was it'll be a wall of his work and a wall of my work.
But her husband isn't here to see it.
What happened?
Essentially, the walls of his aorta weakened from the inside, and eventually it burst.
With no warning, at age 30, he died New Year's Eve 2016, just 16 months after getting married. They met through following each other on Instagram, so she had an idea.
I turned to Instagram after Jacob's death because I had so many beautiful portraits of him.
Every day last year, she posted a new image of him, of them, a glimpse of the life they shared.
I never imagined Jacob would die first. It is so much less painful to imagine dying than losing the person you love.
Each an insight into her daily grief.
I couldn't then and still now can't fathom how so much can happen in one day. The loving moments and the horrifying reality divided by a few minutes of chaos.
Her Instagram following grew to more than 51,000, many inspired to write their own stories, like this one. I could never really come to terms with the fact that my dear father had left me, one wrote. No point in one's life is right for the loss of an immensely loved one.
Was there a reaction or a comment that stood out to you?
One day, I got a very long comment from a woman. She was diagnosed with a terminal illness and had 2 small children. And she wrote me that seeing my way of surviving and trying to find joy brought her comfort, because she hoped that her daughters and her husband would have the same experience.
Did that surprise you?
Absolutely. I've received support and encouragement, and also really heartbreaking stories from people all over the world.
What has it taught you about grieving publicly the way you have?
I've always believed that telling a true story about yourself can bring strangers closer to you.
Even when the story is about love and loss.
Steve Hartman is serving up a morning meal that's nourishing for body and soul.
They come together at the crack of dawn from all directions, converging on this tiny house in St. Louis, Missouri, for their weekly Wednesday visit with 66-year-old Peggy Winkowski.
It's raining.
Grandma Peggy brings everyone together. She's just like a built-in grandma to all of us. She cares for us a lot. She really cares for us.
The students who visit Grandma Peggy attend Bishop DeBerg High School and are part of what they call the Wednesday Breakfast Club. Seeing the spread, you can understand why kids might want to come here. But what isn't so clear is how Peggy got roped into hosting.
The Wednesday Breakfast Club actually used to meet at this diner. Until one day, a kid named Sam Crow said, "You know, my grandma could cook better than this." So the next Wednesday, they showed up at her doorstep.
I'm like, okay. And they came all school year every Wednesday.
That was back in 2021, and it continued merrily until that day when all joy was lost. About a year and a half ago, Peggy's grandson, Sam, a sophomore at Bishop DeBerg, was killed in a hit and run. The boy was beloved, so of course, breakfast was the last thing on anyone's mind. And yet, the very next Wednesday, and virtually every Wednesday since during the school year, the kids have returned to Grandma Peggy's in numbers far greater than before.
Sam would be so proud. Look at when he started.
Everyone coming together for a heaping helping of healing.
It melts my heart.
It's really not about the food. It's just about being together.
We benefit from her. She benefits from us. It's like we feed off each other.
And we're like keeping his memory alive. So yeah.
Good morning, guys.
Everyone grieves differently, but those who manage it best always seem to blanket themselves with kindred spirits, sharing the burden, teaching each other to laugh again, and building tradition to make sure those memories are as snug and sustaining as a warm meal at Grandma's.
This is the best morning, isn't it? Makes Wednesday so much fun.